Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode. A lot. It's Mike Matthews. It's so good to be with you today. Oh, it's 2255.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2255, 2255. I'm Mike Matthews. I'm alive. And I'm talking to you. And I'm going to slide into a song that I'm singing. I hope you like it. Is it nice? Is it bringing you happiness? Is it bringing you a smile? No? Okay, I'll stop. Today we're going to talk about migraines. And when I got my
Mike's Daily Podcast
first shot of the Moderna, about 3 days later I got a migraine. And I don't get migraines. And
Mike's
at one time I used to
Daily
get quite a bit
Podcast.
when I was in my 30s.
Yeah!
But somehow I got, LASIK eye surgery in my late 30s. And it just sort of went away. And then all of a sudden I had this massive migraine. By the way, the last podcast picture, wasn't it awesome? That was a great picture. My lovely lady friend took that picture. We were over at Half Moon Bay, and I'm just looking at it now. The sunset. Wow. If I don't get a lot of likes of it on Instagram, I will be so miffed. Maybe I'll just slightly miffed. Maybe I'll just be Dunder Mifflin. But Mike Matthews is talking to you and saying things that are off the cuff, off the wall, off his brain, off his rocker, and bringing it to you as he does every day, daily, or it has been daily this week anyway. So today I will post a podcast picture from a week ago. This wonderful trip that included that wonderful sunset at Half Moon Bay at Poplar Beach. And you saw that in the last podcast picture. We will feature, let's say, another picture from that wonderful trip. And you can see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Perhaps it'll be little sheep or kids or goats. Little goats. They're called kids.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I think that's what we'll do from last week. See it now at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Migraine headaches are often debilitating. I hate them because I can't see. I get that thing, that strobe light thing, and I hate it. Which is why effective meds for them are so crucial. Fortunately, relief is possible. Any patient with 4 or more headache days per month, or any number of headaches that pose a significant disability such as numbness or weakness, should consider headache treatments. Do you know who never gave me a headache? Was this wonderful guy right here, Basil the Boxer, who went with me many times to Half Moon Bay. That's right, Basil. I know. Actually, growling can help you with your migraine. Helps you feel a little bit of it. I don't know. Does the vibration, kind of helps my head a little bit, but. Before diagnosing migraines, healthcare providers should first rule out dangerous causes of headaches, such as tumors and aneurysms. Migraine medications fall into 2 categories: preventative, taken regularly to reduce headache frequency and severity, and rescue, taken once a migraine has begun for relief from pain and accompanying symptoms. When I'm in that rescue mode, the only thing that can help is, I guess, like a Tylenol and ibuprofen, one of those, and then just closing my eyes and laying down and telling people to go off and leave me is what I tell them. Migraine medications fall into those 2 categories. Oh, and most experts will design both a preventative and a rescue plan. To decrease the frequency of headaches, doctors have been prescribing drugs that are not originally designed for migraine, but are often successful at treating them. These include antidepressants, anti-seizure meds, and blood pressure meds. Relatively inexpensive, they tend to be covered by insurance companies. Botox, when injected every 3 months by a healthcare provider, has been shown to, in clinical trials, to reduce the severity and frequency of chronic migraines by 50%. It also makes you always look surprised. No, wait, does it? Gives you those lips. Oh, I guess it's not into your lips. It's in your, I don't know where they inject it. But for pain relief, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medications such as ibuprofen have been go-to meds for mild to moderate migraines. For more severe migraines, triptans are the standard therapy, a class of drugs available since the early 90s. They stimulate serotonin, a neurotransmitter in the brain, to alleviate pain as well as nausea and sensitivity to light and sound. Other migraine symptoms. Yeah, the last migraine that I had was caused, I remember I was outside and it was a sunny day. In fact, I think most of the migraines I've gotten have been caused by some bright light activity hitting my eyes. So who knows what's going on? And then the drugs in this medication family all require a prescription. But yeah, that rescue medication to help you from pain and accompanying symptoms. I've been involved. I've used a lot of that rescue medication. A number of migraine treatment advancements have been made recently. I think this is Gepants and Ditans, approved by Food and Drug Administration. In the past couple of years, these pills or tablets target receptors on sensory nerves. Unlike triptans, they do not cause blood vessel constriction. And injectables, which I mentioned earlier with the Botox, these block calcitonin gene-related peptide, otherwise known as a CGRP. But always consult your healthcare provider on more information on these as we go outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. And that was from the Costco connection, because I have been known to shop there, and because when I go there, I often wait in a line and I grab this magazine. Actually, it comes to my house, and it sometimes has helpful stuff, and I'd like to share it with you. Hey, do you have friends that are... I'll just leave it with that. Do you have friends? Do you have friends that tell you about stocks all the time? Are you the type of person that when you hear about stocks, your brain goes into that white noise, kind of static, kind of nothing makes sense, you can't figure it out, can't interpret what they're saying? Well, I'm going to break it down for you as best I can using a website called thebalance.com. Stocks can either be classified as common or preferred. I know already. So, common stocks represent the majority of stocks held by the public. Owners of common stock have voting rights and the right to dividend payouts. Now, that's nice to get a dividend, because then it's like you're getting paid by a company, and all you're doing is, you put money into it, obviously, so you're getting a return. But there is one major drawback. If a company is forced to liquidate or go bankrupt, common shareholders are last in the line when it comes to payout. Preferred shareholders and bondholders must be paid out in full before common shareholders can begin receiving payments. Therefore, thusly, that's a pain. Preferred stockholders have fewer rights than common stockholders. Except when it comes to dividends. Companies that issued preferred stocks usually pay consistent dividends. And preferred stockholders have priority on dividends over common stockholders. Investors buy preferred stock for its current income from dividends, so look for companies that make big profits to use preferred stock to return some of those profits via dividends if you're into dividends. And then it gets all complicated from here, and I'm not going to read that. But there you go. That's a little basic information. The primary advantage of investing in stocks is the potential for high returns. Even though stock prices fluctuate daily over time, they have consistently increased in value and provide stable returns. While your portfolio should not be all stocks, they do help provide diversification that ensures you can take advantage of increases in the market while not entirely falling victim to dramatic market changes or collapses, the drops, the scary times. And all investments come with a risk element. That's why a lot of people don't do it. But stocks are the riskiest type of investments because factors outside of the investor's control influence their price and performance. If too much of a person's portfolio is tied up in stocks, a market decline could be the difference between retiring comfortably and having to work extra years to make up for losses. The younger a person is, the more risk they can take with their portfolio because they have time to make up for market declines. As one nears retirement, their portfolio should become more conservative and start transitioning into safer, more stable investments such as bonds. Then there's something called compound interest, which Albert Einstein famously called the eighth wonder of the world. It's the greatest tool when it comes to taking advantage of stocks. Compound interest is the process of earning interest on your interest, and its effect can't be overstated. For example, let's assume you make an initial investment of $1,000 into a stock that grows 8% annually. Now, if you contribute $100 at the end of each month for 20 years, $100, let's see, what am I putting $100 into every month? The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is paying for my cable bill. That's more like $85 because all I want is the internet, but a relatively fast-moving internet, so it's somewhere around $85. So let's say you invested about that much. That investment would be worth $58,000, almost $59,000, even though $59,000, even though you only personally contributed $24,000. Even if you were to contribute a lump sum of $1,000 and never contribute another penny, your investment would grow 4 times. Actually, over 4 times to $4,661 in 20 years. But it takes 20 years. Time and compound interest are some of your greatest tools when it comes to investing. I guess that's the most important thing. The bottom line, according to thebalance.com, is although stock offers good return potential, they should not make up all of your investment portfolio. Use other asset classes to help diversify your portfolio and decrease risk. And that's about as far as I can fathom in the world of stocks, I have to tell you. And I do work for a station that talks about stocks all day, and I find it fascinating. And I have listened for hours and hours and hours, and still none of it sinks in, or a little bit. I could not talk to you in an intelligent way about it, but I find it fascinating. Hey, botched messaging is leading some Ontarians, yes, those people that live in Ontario, Canada, to refuse the Moderna vaccine over a Coke and Pepsi thing. I got the Moderna vaccine. Got the headache. Oh, by the way, the second shot, nothing. Just a sore arm. You may have your preference, and your preference is based on marketing, said Colin Furness, an infection control epidemiologist at the University of Toronto. Pfizer is a gigantic multinational with a huge marketing machine just like Coke. But ultimately, Coke and Pepsi are cola with caffeine, sugar, and fizz. If you're thirsty enough, does preference really matter? Botched messaging is leading to some Ontarians to refuse Moderna vaccines over this difference. As the need for second doses become urgent with the spread of the highly infectious Delta variant, pharmacists worry vaccine shopping could slow efforts to immunize the population. Ontario pharmacies saw some people cancel their appointments and leave lineups at mass immunization clinics after hearing they would be offered Moderna and not Pfizer. So there's all kinds of... That's what's going on in Canada, if you didn't know. Warren Buffett is giving away another $4.1 billion, and he resigned as the trustee at the Gates Foundation. Today is a milestone for me, he said. In 2006, I pledged to distribute all my Berkshire Hathaway shares, more than 99% of my net worth, to philanthropy. With today's $4.1 billion distribution, I'm halfway there. Must be nice. Then, China. They have apparently now given the equivalent to, the amount of shots that they've given, or now they have jabbed, this according to a British newspaper, have jabbed the equivalent, and they like to use the word jab instead of shot, the equivalent of around a sixth of the world's population. In other words, of the 2.7 billion doses that have been administered around the world, more than a third have been given in the communist nation. China gave out about 5 million doses a day in April. 2 months later, it has risen to around 20 million. That's the equivalent to almost a third of the population of the United Kingdom. Every single day. England. Many Chinese didn't see the need to get vaccinated, as the country had largely brought the virus under control through strict border controls and quick lockdowns to deal with sporadic outbreaks. I wonder how many conspiracy theorists they have in China. It is so interesting to find out what they would think about all this, isn't it? Considering what Americans think, and then a lot of Americans blame China. And there were also concerns about potential side effects and the safety of homegrown vaccines after previous scandals involving faulty Chinese vaccines. Despite this, China plowed past the symbolic 1 billion mark on Saturday. And that's pretty much all I got for you today. Oh, speaking of China, they've got this big campaign going on. The New York Times and ProPublica analyzed 3,000 videos to reveal evidence of a campaign orchestrated by China's government. This operation has produced and spread thousands of videos in which Chinese citizens deny abuses against their own communities. And as they took apart, broke down the hundreds of videos, and they all had strikingly often identical phrases and structures in these videos. And basically a pro thing for China. In just a few days, videos establishing China's version of reality can be shot, edited, and amplified around the internet, according to the New York Times. They have high-speed propaganda pipelines from Beijing. And then Twitter and YouTube have both been banned in China. Yet, despite that, they have been doing their own way of, I guess, becoming viral. The New York Times says that the videos often jumped into other Chinese platforms before making their way onto global social media sites like Twitter and YouTube. The New York Times found more than 300 accounts sharing the videos whose posts strongly suggested they were no ordinary users. There you go. All right. Outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. See how people get around Twitter and YouTube, and in the end are using Twitter and YouTube. I guess we kind of see it through that. I guess we'd have to read the New York Times to find out more, but I know a lot of you don't like that newspaper. I know there is a podcast they do called The Daily, and I have Daily in my name. So in some ways, there's a connection, but in others, Michael Barbaro, is he still hosting that, by the way? I used to listen to that every morning when I was driving into work. Found it fascinating. All right, look who's here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
And to Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what.
What?
I don't trust a thing that the New York Times or Jeff Bezos says, and Jeff Bezos should stay in space. Tell you what.
What?
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Do what?
That.
What?
That.
So you signed that thing, that online petition to keep Jeff Bezos from returning back to Earth when he goes up into space?
Maybe.
And look who else is here.
Hello,
Mike, I make the delicious root beer. Here's some right now. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
I'll drink some of your root beer right now because you're all right. Nobody's worried about you. Drinking made absolutely no noise, so that was really good podcasting, but for some reason I really needed a drink just then. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Tell all your friends about this podcast. You can chime in, tell me what you think about any of the topics we covered today. 336MM Daily, that's 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast has been now for quite a few days. Let's see how long it goes on for.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!